We are coming up on what I think is going to be something special this year. Star Stripes and White Lines. This is the third year that we've done it. Really only the second year of the truck piece of it, right? Year one, we had a few trucks, but I think they were all Bennett trucks. We had some Jeeps out there, and we did the golf ball drop. It's only continued to grow. You got involved, I guess, year two.
Yep, last year.
When we brought in the trucks. So I'm here with Evan. I just call you the truck show guy. Like before I actually got to meet you, I just knew you as truck show guy. It's like, yeah, that tall guy that walks around and points and does everything. So why don't we start out by just kind of telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this whole truck show scene?
Honestly, I blame Polly and Tony Justice for that truck show guy reference, because when they need something done, they always just say, call the truck show guy. That's Evan. So honestly, where I make my bread is metal polishing. That's where I started my business. I started back in 1998 polishing metal. It wasn't until 2005 that I took it more seriously and went full time with it. And since 2005, I've been perfecting the craft of polishing metal, or at least I'd like to believe I do. I've assembled a great team around me. Since then, our business has kind of grown, and we've gotten into apparel, we've gotten into detailing products, and we've kind of covered the board pretty well. And I had gotten involved in truck shows right out the gate. But back then, the show circuit was different than it is now. The show circuit now is more of a wash and park at almost all the shows you pull up to. Very few of them are actually judged, but back in the day, there was actually a couple different show circuits that actually went around. There was a show circuit called Stars and Stripes that was run by Bud Farquhar. He traveled the U.S.
Got to say that name slow.
Bud Farquhar? Yeah. Bud and I have become very good friends over the years. We've remained friends even though he's retired and left the show scene. Him and I still talk on the phone from time to time, but he traveled the show circuit, and he had his own shows that traveled around the country. It was always a different city every year, except I think Reno was one of the regulars and Louisville was one of the regulars. And with that show circuit moving around, he had traveling judges that would come in and actually full-on judge the shows. Guys competed in build-offs and actual full-blown competition, white glove kind of stuff. And then Pride and Polish was around for a while with Randall Riley. They had a show circuit where they had 4 qualifying shows, and then they would have their national championship in Dallas. So I started competing and dabbling in some of those, and I had a lot of fun just getting creative a few times a year, polishing and detailing for the high-end show stuff, but still relying on the bread and butter of my work truck stuff. Fast forward a few more years. Through that, I had worked with the company. It didn't end up working out. I helped them build their brand a little bit, and I had met Tony Justice through that. Over the years, Tony and I had started to become good friends, and his wife, Misty, said if he wanted to have a truck show, she had enough on her plate with running the label and doing all the stuff that she was doing, booking him shows, that if he wanted to have a truck show, he was going to have to call his buddy Evan. So he called me up on the phone and said, hey, buddy, old pal, I got something for you. I said, listen, Tony, you don't have to butter me up. Just ask. And he said, I want to run a truck show, but Misty says I can't do it without you. And I said, first off, yes. Second off, yes. If you want to run a truck show, I'm in. We've been friends for a long time. I think it'd be a great time. I'm sure you've got some fun ideas for this thing. But let me tell you about an idea that I've had for a long time. I go to a lot of truck shows, and I always thought it'd be cool to have the trucks attend a concert, because there's usually a concert at a truck show, right? So I told him about this idea that I had of kind of surrounding a stage with trucks. And he said, well, why don't you come down and take a look at this location, and we'll go fishing and see if you think you can make it work. I went down and looked at it. I was like, Tony, this is going to be great. Like, this is a cool location. Like, it was kind of a tight parking lot, but it'd be a great place to start. And that's really where my truck show career kind of started taking off. Is it went very smooth. Tony was like, dude, you're natural at this. He's like, you should probably try to do this for other people as well. Well, then shortly after, Mitchell Bottomley had hit me up, asked me to come run the Mayberry Truck Show. I did go and run that one, and that one went really smooth for how big it was. Right out the gate, it was a 200 and some truck show for their first year, which was huge. He put a ton of marketing behind it, and that area over there is so swamped full of trucks, that North Carolina area, that it took off very quickly. And a bunch of people that had seen me there were like, holy cow, this was a smooth event. Like, how'd you do it? I'm like, honestly, I just watched over the years of stuff that I knew worked and didn't work. And I just tried to avoid the things that didn't work and tried to capitalize on the things that did work. And then I assembled a team around that. And then, of course, I met you guys and Miss Polly. And she had kind of seen how I do my thing at the shows. And all of a sudden, she started telling everybody I was the truck show guy. If you wanted to run a successful show, you wanted to call me to help make it work. And then fast forward to David talking about having the show here again at Echo Park. And I was like, man, this sounds like a great opportunity. But I made him a deal. I said, the national championship has been gone from Dallas since COVID. 2019 was the last year of the national championship in Dallas. I said, if you let me bring the national championship back, I'm in. And he said, deal. We'll figure out a way to make that happen. And last year we did. We revived it. So I've been having a lot of fun running truck shows. Like I said, I also have a detailing product company that I enjoy selling in the booth. I've had my YouTube channel going forever. And I get to meet a lot of cool people and get to have some cool experiences like this right here.
I'll admit, right, when we initially came up with the idea of let's do a ball drop, we'll raise some money for Wreaths Across America, which this is what it's all about. We're raising money to put a wreath on every gravesite at Andersonville National Cemetery in outside of Americus, Georgia, and we've been doing that for 8 years. Each year it gets a little bit more difficult. We have some great sponsors that step up every year, but I mean, especially the last 4 years, difficult times, economy's not that great.
Yeah.
You had COVID. So it makes fundraising a little bit more difficult. It's not that people don't want to do it. They just can't.
Yeah.
And so we have had to get creative. The ball drop is one of those things. We pulled that together in like 5 weeks, and we raised almost $70,000. Right. And then from that sprung the idea of this truck show. And that's where you came in and everything. And I'll admit, I sat at the table when we were, and I remember you got on, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? You had like, all you could see was like little like
I was covered in rouge.
Reverse raccoon, right? You
Yeah.
had white around here, and everything else was just, I was like, what are we even doing?
I'm pretty sure my exact words were, get used to it, because this is how you guys are going to see me
Yeah,
outside
it was.
of a show.
Yeah, it was. I was like, and he's touching the keyboard with that. Those things. I was just like, I didn't know what was going on, but
That's
I was
everyday
one.
life.
I was one at the table that was. I wasn't being pessimistic about it, but I was trying to be realistic about it, and I was wrong. When I'm wrong, I'll admit I was wrong. I was wrong because I wasn't terribly excited about the show.
Yeah.
But as we got closer and closer, and then the show happened, I was like, wow, like there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of really good stuff that can happen out of this. And here we are coming up, on this year where, we've got a team that's pounding the pavement at these other shows. We've got other shows that are wanting to partner with us.
Yep.
I think it just shows the passion and drive that you, Polly, all of our teams have in making this successful, and for a good cause and for a good reason. What are some things that a spectator, somebody that's entering the show, whether it's the trucks, the wash and park side of it, right? Because we've got the elite side,
Yep.
which is invitation only,
Yep.
which has been kind of one of the common misconceptions that this whole show's one invitation only. It's not. Just
Everybody's
a small segment
invited.
of it, right?
Everybody's invited.
Yeah. And so whether it's the truck side of it, the Jeep side of it, the motorcycle side of it,
The custom car side.
or the custom classic, whatever car side of
hot
it.
rod, rat
What's
rod.
something, and I think that's part of the answer. You're going to see all of that
Yeah.
in one big area. What are some other things that make Stars, Stripes, and White Lines unique? I'm asking you because I could tell you, but I don't go to all of these shows like you guys do.
I can tell you the thing that's unique for me, and this is something I've been trying to accomplish for years, and I'm glad it worked out here last year that it happened to be that way. If you can get a conversation between a 2-wheeler, a 4-wheeler, and an 18-wheeler, what a great conversation that is, right? Because for truckers to say 4-wheelers don't understand me, and for 4-wheelers to say I don't understand why that truck's pulling over in front of me when they've had their blinker on for 2 minutes and I didn't let them in, because they didn't see you sitting there 9 times out of 10, right? And we all understand accidents happen, but it's always the trucker's fault, is the way it always seems to play out, right? So last year, walking around, I got to see motorcycle guys talking to truckers, because truckers love motorcycles. They love cars. They love Jeeps too. They love a little bit of everything, right? So I saw guys having conversations across the board. It didn't matter if they were on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or 18 wheels. And that really hits home for me, because I love the trucking community and I love the truckers that I've gotten to know now, which is one thing I'm really excited for you to see this year. Is you thought it was fun last year. Wait till you start getting to meet some of the key players this year, and you get to start having those conversations. I had a few of the drivers ask me last year, who was the older lady with the white hair that was walking around with the Bennett shirt on? I said, oh, that's Miss Marcy. They're like, really? Like the owner? I said, yeah, the owner. Like, oh my God, she come up and introduced herself to us, and we had no idea. Like, I had no idea she was the owner. I said, I didn't know either till today when they introduced me to her. And they're like, the owner was out here of one of the largest trucking companies, just out here chit-chatting with us. I said, that's Miss Marcy. Like, every time I've ever seen her, she eats, sleeps, breathes trucking. She loves this industry.
Oh yeah, you meet her one time, she's not going to forget who you are.
No. And she's a bright young chicken yet. Yeah. I asked her to climb that ladder to go up in the flagpole last year, and she was waving the flag for everybody. Oh, yeah. I told her she could come down, and she's like, I think everybody kind of deserves to have this experience. I think I'll just stay up here till everybody's done. I'm like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So to me, that was pretty cool too. But just the atmosphere here is so laid back. Even the competition side and the invite side, which isn't the main focus. The main focus is the charity, right? We're raising money for the charity. There is a lot of expense at a place like this, but we have all that funded through everything else we do, right? But on the invited side, it's pretty cool. Like all the competitors, even though it's white glove treatment, I saw all the competitors hanging out with each other. There wasn't drama. There was no hatred last year. Everybody was here for a good time. And Casey Connery fired up his stereo the one night. They ordered in pizzas because the food was closed down the one night. They ordered in some pizzas, and they all sat down, cracked open a beer, and everybody was cutting up and laughing, listening to music. To me, that's what the truck show season is about. It's the people getting to hang out with each other. It's kind of like a big family reunion. It's not a competition, even though it is, but it's more of a family reunion. And I'm excited for you to get to meet some of the key players, because there's a lot of guys that I look up to that if I called Don Wood right now and was like, hey, buddy, I'm in a spot. Can you help me out? He'd be like, where do I got to go? Or if I called up Casey Connery and I'm like, buddy, I'm stuck in the middle of Indiana. Can you come pick me up? He'd come pick me up. You need a place to stay tonight? You can stay at my house. There's a lot of big key players.
I think that kind of helps paint the picture of how all of these different, I say different, they're really not. All of these groups, right? The trucks, the Jeeps, the motorcycles. We'll see with the classic cars but I'm sure they're going to be welcomed into the mix. But there's one common thread that kind of runs through all of them. On the equipment side of things, it's the customization, lights, sound, right? That's something that you could walk through any section of this show, and people are showing off their all of the customization they have. We do a light show at night, so we can light up the whole infield of Echo Park, and that's awesome in and of itself. I was flying the drone when we did that, and it was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Wait till we fill it this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be amazing as far as that goes. But then on the people side of it, I think the common thread there is you have a lot of veterans, right?
Which was awesome.
You have these communities where people, have common values, which really kind of take us back to when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, where everybody looked out for each other. You've got all of this equipment and money out there, but people don't hesitate to walk away from it and worry about something walking, because everybody's looking out for each other. Yeah. Kind of like we talked about with our teams, right? Yeah. Everybody's got each other's back. And I think that's why this has worked so well and they've blended together so well, is because they share a lot of those common core values. And they're just genuinely good people, right?
Yeah. It's really cool to to know that guys could leave their keys in their truck. Like, I've got this little Louis Vuitton dog that I leave on my keychain that I probably shouldn't, because it's a little pricier than I should just leave
Oh,
out.
you're bougie like that, though, you know?
But it's
You walk around like dangling it.
no, I leave it in the truck. It never leaves the truck.
All right.
And honestly, I've been really super surprised it hasn't walked off, because some people know what that thing's worth. But I leave it there because this is my family. And I know that if somebody saw somebody walking off with my keys, they would stop them, right? And the shows just aren't that location.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Look, I could talk all day. Like then there's so much more that we need to cover.
Yeah.
So let's quickly work through a couple of things.
Sure.
Right. Entertainment this year. We're stepping it up even more than we did last year. We had some great entertainment last year. Friday and Saturday, we have bands that are going to play that are just going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me about that a little bit.
So same thing this year. We've got some big bands coming in. Local artist Mark Ware's coming in. Of course, we've got our boy Tony's coming back again this year. We've also got some surprise artists coming in this year. We're still working through the logistics of locking them down. Yep. But if the one guy locks in, it's going to be a killer show. We were watching them on YouTube yesterday, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, we had Montgomery Pike last year. I don't know if you remember the young guy and girl.
Yeah.
And I think they did an incredible job. They're going to come back this year.
That's awesome.
It was interesting because I got a message. This has been a few weeks ago, and it was like, "Hey, we should know in the next week or so." But we got nominated for like best up and coming country music.
How awesome is that?
Band in the state of Georgia.
Congratulations,
and if that was
Montgomery Pike.
if they were to have won that, they wouldn't have been able to be at the show because they were going to Nashville. But they've already been to Nashville. They've already recorded some things, and I think there's going to be some folks that you'll hear.
They put on a pretty good show last year.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not a huge
All
country
of them
guy,
did. All of them did.
Everybody I sat and listened to last year, as you know, I was busier than all get out. I didn't get to go over and sit and enjoy anything. But I did catch everybody in passing, and honestly, every one of the bands last year did phenomenal. Yeah. I thought it was great that they came and performed. Had them not in a great location for a stage last year because we had a lot of stuff going on up in that area last year. But we did relocate the stage this year. Yeah. We did have a bunch of people last year. We listened to the feedback. We sent out survey sheets to almost everybody that left us their contact info. Yeah. And we made a lot of adjustments this year based on the feedback we got from last year. So we moved the stage to a better location. We're going to have a lot more room for the bands to kind of air out this year. And, of course, our boy Jack, he's coming in with a big stage, bringing in the boomers this year. It's going to be pretty loud and pretty wild. Yeah, I think that's one big adjustment that we made that's going to make a big impact. All right, so we talked about the bands. Yep.
I think another big one that people, we've talked about it a couple of times, people know about but really don't understand the opportunity there, is this golf ball drop.
Yeah.
Right? We're literally going to drop, I think, 2,400 golf balls out of a Huey helicopter, and the one that lands closest to the pin, $10,000. And then I think we've got a big second prize, third prize.
Second, I think, was $5,000 last year.
Yeah. I think we talked about a crew, like we're working through some of that still.
And there's a lot of prizes and stuff like that that come along with that.
But $100.
When I heard golf ball drop last year, I had no idea what that was.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that, right? $100, and I'm a marketing guy, so don't ask me to do like exact math. But if wreaths are around, I think $13 to $15
somewhere in there, yeah.
Right. So 100 gets you how many?
It's 7 or 8, I think.
Right. So if you are buying one golf ball, you have placed a wreath on 8 soldiers' gravesite.
Something you can hang your hat on.
Yeah, I mean that, and then you have the opportunity to win $10,000.
Yeah.
And the first year that we did this, the person that won the $10,000 donated it right back.
How cool is that?
Which was incredible. I mean, it shows the type of people that come out to this event.
Funny story, Don Wood was the second closest last year, and he won $5,000, and he donated his back as well. Yeah. And to me, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Like, it was money that he could have used for coming down here and competing, but he didn't. He donated it back because he felt those headstones deserved it more than he did, which is awesome.
Yeah. So all of that information and so much more is on sswltruckshow.com.
Yeah. The website has been updated this year. A lot of killer great information on there. Every time even I've needed information where I'm like, man, I don't remember how we laid that out.
Yeah.
Even I've gone on there to look at.
Yeah. What else did I miss?
I would say you hit pretty much everything on the head except some of the extra trucker stuff this year that we're going to do. So last year we had, I think it was 70 some trucks last year. It had, your first year only had like 15 or 18 trucks. Mm-hmm. Last year we grew it to, I think it was 74 or 76, somewhere around in there. We didn't count the vendor trucks. We just counted the competitors that came for the wash and park, and then our 8 elite guys that came to compete for the white glove competition last year. But last year we managed to talk Echo Park Speedway, formerly Atlanta Motor Speedway, into letting us drive trucks on the track. Originally, it was just going to be a parade around the apron, and then we managed to talk them into letting us put trucks on the track at full speed behind the pace car. Everything went super smooth. Well, this year, we came up with this idea that all day on Friday, anybody that competes in the wash and park, not our elites are going to be getting judged while this is happening, but all day Friday, our wash and park guys, anybody that comes to like any other show, you can either register online or you can come here and register at the gate. Anybody that is here for Friday morning can purchase 2 laps out on the track, and all of that money goes direct to putting wreaths on headstones. Yeah. That's where that goes to. So we decided to make it $200 because that gives us a solid, I think it was 15 wreaths exactly was the number that we're going to do with every set of trucks that goes out on the laps. So bobtail, you can take your truck in time slots. We're going to do them from 8 until noon and then 1 until 6. The truckers can buy time slots to put their truck out on the track behind the pace car and hopefully a pace truck, or fingers crossed we're going to have a pace truck.
Yeah, we're working on it. Definitely working on it.
We got some ideas today that we're going to talk about in the meeting tomorrow, but I think if we can get a pace truck out there too, that would help out quite a bit for somebody's company, right? But all day Friday, my team is going to be sending trucks out onto that track in groups of 10 behind the pace car and behind hopefully a pace truck, and they'll get to run 2 laps, have some fun, pull back in and park, and enjoy the weekend. And then Saturday night is when the craziness happens. We're going to send out all of our best of show winners out onto the track, just like we did last year. The video that we put out of Don Wood last year did 300 million views. And that was shot on a cell phone last year. Yeah. Literally, Lauren with her hair blowing out the window, seatbelt wrapped around her so she didn't fall out.
We learned some things from last year.
We're pulling it out better this year. I'm bringing all my camera gear. Chris Feife's bringing his camera gear. We're going to set up our cars like we normally would for doing rolling footage going down the interstate, and we're going to get out there and shoot some videos in 4K, 8K with our good cameras out on the track. But all the winners are going to get to go out. All of our guys that competed, their families are going to get to walk out into the pit area. Their VIP friends are going to get to go out into the pit area. Roadworks is going to probably have their patio open, and they're going to be sitting in a prime spot so that people can sit up higher and see. But last year, we just kind of let everybody out into that pit area, which we didn't realize at the time was going to be a safety issue, because we thought everybody was truckers, everybody was trucker families, and nobody would get hurt. No, nothing could possibly happen, right? We were living on this high of, we're driving on the track.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's like when your mom or dad says you can, do something that you normally can't do, and it's like, okay, let's go do it before they change their mind, right?
Yeah. And my team and I, we had a quick little safety meeting. Like, listen, they're going to let us do this. Let's make sure this happens. And we did the best we could. But a few people wanted to get out a little better than the pit area, and they came out to the grass with us, and somebody was on their cell phone not paying attention and just kind of walked in front of a truck. We're going to fix that issue this year. So we'll have a fenced-in area that the VIP area can get to, but everybody else can just kind of come into the inside and the infield and move around to turn 1, 2 is going to end up being a great spot to sit out in the grass and watch trucks. Turn 3 and 4 is going to end up being a really cool spot because that's going to be all combos down in turn 3 and 4. And in that combo area, I'm sure you're going to find somebody with a flatbed or something that you can set up lounge chairs on and just sit and watch them trucks come around turn 3 and 4. And when trucks come off that back stretch into turn 3 and 4, they're still running 85, 90 mile an hour coming around through there. So it's going to be a heck of a show.
I mean, it's a experience that you don't get to do any other show.
Yep.
And we'll also have slots for the Jeeps and for the motorcycles.
Yep, exactly.
So same deal for them.
Yep.
I think that's all on Saturday, if I remember correctly, or is that Friday?
They go out. There's 2 time slots on Friday, and there's a time slot on Saturday.
Yeah.
But they're going to get to go out in bigger groups because you can fit a lot more of them on the track at once without interfering with each other. Right. The trucks, we got to limit it to 10 per group just because the track's only so big. Right.
Right.
Kim has tasked me with trying to park all of our elite guys on the track at one time for a cool picture for the main office.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can pull that off. Levi and I are going to have our hands full trying to get 48 trucks on the main stretch here.
There's a lot that we got to get done, but I think that's part of it, right? That's part of the planning.
Yep.
And the good thing is when you show up, you don't have to worry about any of that. You just get to experience, enjoy, and have a good time.
Yeah. For the people coming to enjoy the show, it's going to be a seamless experience. The one thing I can tell you that I read in the feedback last year that I was like, man, that's some great feedback, was almost everybody on their feedback said Bennett pulled out all the stops to make us feel like family. And then the execution of my crew was phenomenal because everybody felt like they were part of something. They were here. Everybody cared about them. And that's the biggest thing, right? I always want people to feel welcomed to an event like this. And all year we've been fighting that stigma of it's an invite-only show, which is so far from the truth. Yeah. Last year we only had 8 invited trucks, but we had 74 trucks here. Yeah. This year I really want to hit that 300 wash and park mark. That's my goal. If we hit 200, I'm happy. We almost tripled our growth at 200. But my goal is really to hit 300 wash and park, because if we can get 300 wash and park in here, it's going to be a party like you've never seen before.
Absolutely.
I mean, with all these truckers around here, the one other thing I do want to hit on is we're selling media passes this year. And not too many people understand what that media pass means. So I kind of want to explain that a little bit. Is that media pass means you're going to have all access to anything, anytime during the show. If you need to get into one of the soundproof rooms to do an interview with somebody, you can go into the media center, into a soundproof room, have an interview with somebody. On Friday, when we got trucks out on the track, you can go stand out in the grass in the infield on the track side between the pits and the track and set up a camera or a video camera or whatever you want. And you can have access to all of that media on your own. And then Saturday night when we have the trucks out there, you can either stand on the stand side or you can stand in the grass and shoot photos, videos, whatever you want. So that media pass comes at a $500 price tag, but it gives you access that nobody else is going to get. And that media access is very limited. We've limited it to, I think, 20. Is that the right number? 20?
I think so.
I think 20 is what we limited it to. So if you're a magazine or you're a photographer that wants pictures and videos that you're probably not going to get unless you're part of my crew, that's the way to get it, is that media pass. Absolutely. It comes at a $500 price tag, but you're going to get exclusive access to really cool locations that you wouldn't normally get without it.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, we learned a lot last year. Mm-hmm. It hits on our safety. It hits on, putting those that are wanting to do that in a position where they're safe, they're able to get something. And obviously putting on any truck show like this, it costs money. Yep. But we have some wonderful sponsors, always have room for more, and we continue to grow in that regard and have some great partnerships that are developing from that.
For sure.
So that helps cover some of the cost. And then, we're also trying to be very smart about how we spend our money.
Yeah.
But things like this, that $500 pass, we want to make sure that the value's there for the person who's buying the pass.
Yep.
But then also the realization that the majority of that money that they're paying for that pass is, again, going to a good cause.
Yeah, that money's seriously going to put wreaths on headstones. Yeah. That's really where it comes down to, is everything that's been put into place has literally been put there to ensure that the charity continues to grow each year. There's no personal gain for me. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me out every year, but this place isn't gonna fill my pockets. Right. I'm not collecting a check. We're just coming out to have a good time, and I'm getting to be a part of something special. Right. And honestly, I would like to go to one of these wreath laying ceremonies one of these years. I need to just schedule the time off.
Come down in December
and go. I think it would be awesome to see that happen. I've always had a ton of respect for the military. My personal charity that I run every year with my sister and my wife and a bunch of our friends that pitch in for me, all of our money goes directly to veterans too. We help veterans directly in our own community, and I can see how much that changes. And I can only imagine, I would never want to see one of our veterans' headstones without a wreath on it at Christmas. I think everybody deserves at least that.
Yep.
That's a bare minimum, right?
Yeah.
And when I was told what this cause was for, I was blown away, because to me, that's awesome.
Yeah. The great thing is being able to put a wreath at someone you don't even know.
Yeah.
But you lay the wreath, you take a minute just to remember them, and then you say their name. And if you say their name, they're never going to be forgotten. And I think that really kind of just sums everything up. You know, something funny is I said we're going to wrap this up about 10 minutes ago. And so everybody over there started standing up like, oh, yeah, this is good. We need to be wrapping it up. And then we rattled on for 10 more minutes.
The boss says we're done.
No, but I really appreciate this time. I think that, you know, we want to put this out there so everybody can understand what this is about a little bit more, learn a little bit about you. And my hope is, you know, people come up to us while we're out there and say, man, this is really great. You make us feel welcome. You know, we were kind of on the fence about it, but maybe this video gets 5 more trucks.
Yeah.
And 5 more trucks or 5 more Jeeps puts more
5 more
wreaths.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And 5 more friends.
That's exactly
right.
it.
And I think most people leave here having met and made lifelong friends, you know, from these types of events, especially this one.
And some of the people from the Washington Park last year are competitors in the national championship this year.
There you go.
So just it's going to keep growing.
Yep.
We've got a great team on both sides. I've really had a blast integrating with your side.
Awesome.
And I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the time.